Expect in-depth analysis and genuine conversations about the major issues affecting the supply chain today. Welcome to Supply Chain Demystified. Your host is none other than the distinguished supply chain expert, Dr. Nick Valles. Professor Valles is the Academic Director of USC Marshall Global Supply Chain Management and Founding Executive Director of USC Marshall Randall R. Kendrick Global Supply Chain Institute.
Welcome to Supply Chain Demystified. I'm your host, Professor Nick Valles. I'm thrilled to talk to Wayne Jepson from Röhlig Logistics. Wayne, thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much, Nick. Absolute privilege to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. Looking forward to talking to you about the supply chain today.
So good to, we go back over a decade in various capacity, right? You've been part of this journey with the Kendrick Global Supply Chain Institute from, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from the second edition all the way to now. This year's was celebrating 13th.
Yes.
It's been a mighty long time. So thanks for, first of all, being part of it. But you have a unique perspective. There's not too many of my participants on the Supply Chain Demystified podcast desk, which is that you both have inside perspective, as you and I, we work together at the Institute, but you also have an outside perspective. So it's great to have you on this episode. So talk about Röhlig.
Yeah, so, I joined Röhlig a couple of years ago, and it was really just getting back, for me, it was all about the people. And there were a number of individuals that I crossed paths with over my career, nearly 30 years. We all landed up at this company, and when I saw the caliber of the people, I really wanted to know more about why everybody landed up and migrated to the same organization. And when I started digging a bit deeper, the thing that I really resonated with me was the fact it was a family-run business. We're a sixth generation. We're over 173 years now. So we're one of the original sort of freight forwarding families out of Germany, out of Bremen, and it's still owned and controlled by the same family today. And so, with that, what I've seen is just, we're one of the few privately held companies that actually publish our financials. So if you go into LinkedIn, you'll see all of our financials there, and we do so because we're very proud of who we are. But I think what makes us most special is we're not driven by shareholder pressure. We're a family-run company, and we have a lot of freedom that comes with that.
So that's where, actually, not many business survives one generation, far less to talk about the multi-generational. So at some point, obviously, I'm planning to write a case study about the DNA of the multi-generational businesses, and especially within the privately held setup. But beyond that, I think you guys had an incredible 2024 performance. We did. What was that about? And let's talk about the details.
Well, I think, with being in an organization where you have the freedom and the latitude to do whatever you want, well, not within reason, obviously, but it allows us to be courageous and to venture into new markets and new industries that perhaps we hadn't in the past. And one of the ones that we really sort of fell into and has evolved very, very quickly, and it's the industry that I principally operate in, is the renewable energy space. And what's nice about it is it's not just tipping your toe in the water, so to speak. It's also about having the support of management and operations to be able to do all the things that you need to do. And I think it wasn't just in that. We leveraged on the back of our extremely strong automotive pedigree. We've been in, you did 70 odd years. We have a lot of history that goes with it. But I think the key is we haven't tried to be everything to everywhere. We're a mid-sized organization, and we've tried to focus on what we do really well. And in the process, we've also stumbled upon some opportunities that have turned into really good opportunities in a very short space of time.
So let's talk about what do you consider yourself, the 3PL, 4PL, or 5PL?
We principally, I think, are a 3PL. Because that's what we do day to day. But I also think we have started to grow in the 4PL business. We have a lot of customers where we manage their contracts for argument's sake. And I think that, there's historically logistics companies have tried to do first, middle, and last mile. We've realized that there's opportunity in all of the miles, and it's about adding value. And what we do, and specifically in renewable energy, is there's a lot of it's all project management, and so around all of that, there's a lot of attention to detail. And some of the more containerized cargo, the ocean part of it is fairly basic, and it's in that sense, and it's first and last mile that sometimes is where the real value is. And so so to answer your question, I think we sit on both sides of those fences.
So let me just for my audience, so that you understand when the terms gets heard or talked about, 1PL, 2PL, 3PL, 4PL, 5PL. You won't probably hear too much about 1 and a 2PL, because those were the days. So let me just articulate that in a very simplistic way. Back in the days when the farmer would have chickens, that farmer will actually control the entire value chain, meaning raising the chickens, spinning the chickens, getting those eggs, and then taking those eggs and selling it in or herself to the customer. 1PL is complete vertical integration. Nobody else touches, right? Then the farmer realizes, hey, there are too many eggs, and I just want to focus on just running the farm, but I want somebody to deliver those eggs to somebody who's going to sell, become the 2PL. And then the 3PL and subsequent evolution of that. So the 3PL industry truly, so it got its footings in the late 70s into early 80s, it boomed, and it continues to play a huge, significant role into the 4PL and then significantly into 5PL. So you talk about the world of logistics, which is moving goods from point A to point B to point C. There's a lot of conversation about the emerging technologies, specifically the AI. How does a company of 170 years, that is a mighty long time. I'm sure you guys have legacy systems, you have processes that are generational, if not at least in decades, and a few years older than the agile and startup companies. How do you actually now on the other side, as you're so proud to say it's a 6th generational company, obviously there's a liability in terms of the agility and resilience. So how does that actually trust?
I think for us, what's absolutely critical is we have a very ambitious and courageous leadership group. And what a lot of people don't know is we have 2 technology companies, Logineers and Cargo Nerds, who really spun off, and those are independent companies now that create and develop the technology, whether it's software or hardware, that we use in our business today. And so I think we have the benefit and the advantage of having, because we have our own organizations that are doing this for us, they're very close to our business. And so when you look at it as an organization, if you're trying to develop and deploy technology in your organization, having those people close by is really, really helpful.
So you have your in-house capability to build the solutions, and so you feel that you guys are innovative in terms of AI. And tell me how your journey has been in terms of the conversation on adoption.
Well, it's been so in its basic form. Almost everyone in our organization has a license for OpenAI, the commercial version, and it's built around our Röhlig database, secure database. And what's great about that is we're using it in its basic form to solve all sorts of problems in our organization, whether it's something very basic like some sort of quoting. I use it extensively in my business to develop modeling tools. We have modular sort of playbooks that we use, because in the project world, we have to plan for everything that might happen. And there's a lot of, when deadlines are important, when you don't deliver on time, it's absolutely critical. So we're using a lot of those tools to help us, whether it's weather forecasting, whether it's vessel forecasting, taking into account, geopolitical tensions around the world and shifts in, like we have with the tariffs, you have a lot of shifts in the movement of goods around the world. All of that impacts, and we use a lot of those tools to help us understand and then prepare our clients for it. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are required to respond when things happen.
That's very good. I mean, it's good to hear that you guys are actually using your data sets and layering up onto the OpenAI. It's a German-based company. You started in Germany.
That's right.
International footprints. I know you guys have expanded.
We have.
Talk about that for us.
Well, we initially we started off in obviously Europe. That was our sort of home base, and it expanded from them. But we have extremely strong businesses in Australasia. I think we just had our 60th anniversary or 50th or 60th in Australia. A big organization. We're one of the leaders in Australia. South Africa, my home country. We are one of the largest in South Africa. We have a joint venture there with Grindrod. It's Röhlig Logistics. And then we've expanded into some of the, like Canada recently, into Southeast Asia. We've expanded as well. So it's been more driven by, not just to the sake of expand. It's been more driven by our customer base and the requirements of our customers. And it's not just a case of opening up a new country for the sake of it. We want to make sure that it adds value to the overall picture. And I think when I look at least through my sort of renewable energy lens, I think we're going to see more and more things happening, because in some of these far-flung countries where energy is an absolute crisis and necessity, we're going to start to see our business evolve into some of these countries where we are able to put together solutions for customers to deliver on these projects.
So, wait, that's a great way to sort of point that out. But as you know, 3PL, 4PL business is very competitive. It's very cost conscious, meaning it's ultimately who delivers the cost and the value and quality. How does Woolworths differentiate that value proposition?
Well, I think for us, it's always been about the people. And whilst we do have technology and the resurgence of AI, I think for us it really is about the people. And it's very important to have the right people. And we are constantly looking at what do we need, where are the gaps. Specifically, if you look at the project side of things, it's a very unique skill set, and you need to find those people. So we're constantly out looking for the right types of individuals. I think that's definitely one of them. Like I said earlier on, we're not trying to be everything to everyone. Our goal is to, whatever we do it properly, and also challenge ourselves. I think that's a critical part. You can't be sitting in the status quo and expect to survive. You've got to be looking ahead and say, okay, so what's next? What can happen? And our customers, I think, has been key for us in many areas, is we have been able to come to our customers with new and different solutions that they may not have thought of. And it's not, so we go from the old just a provider model to an actual more of a consultative approach where we're challenging our customers. And you've got to have the right relationships, first of all, because they don't always want to listen to you. But what's nice is when they do want to sit around the table and collaborate, you're able to sit down and brainstorm and put together solutions that really make a difference to them.
So you're almost moving in from 3PL into the 4PL.
Yes.
Which is brilliant. Again, the 4PL, obviously, as we talked about, is an evolution from the 3PL, where you're not just managing the movements of goods and freight, but you're also sort of working network design and optimizing the cost and speed to market and so on and so forth. What advice would you give to, as you know, you've been part of the team, a Master of Science in Border Supply Chain Management, one of the largest cohort 13, 160 students. What advice would you give them?
Well, I think, and just going right back to the beginning, when I came to the second summit, I was it was a lot smaller, but it wasn't less meaningful. And I think what I realized was not, I don't come from LA, as you can tell, and I didn't know a ton of people. And I figured, how do I connect with people in this industry? It's a very small industry, but it's also, if you're not in the industry, how do you connect? And so for me, first and foremost, it was about meeting people. And then I had the opportunity and the privilege to meet individuals like yourself who have mentored me and become great friends. And I learned from constantly. And it's just been around all these people. So, just a part of the whole community. And that's why I've stayed connected, because I've learned so much from it, and look, we've gotten lots of business out of it, and that's just a consequence of being a part of it. And I would recommend and anybody that's, whether they're a student or not, to join in and be a part of it and participate and get connected. And I think what's great about the summit is it is really, in essence, an informative networking event where you learn a ton of things, but most importantly, you make connections and you meet people that are open to the same sort of networking sort of mindset, which is quite different when you go to a conference and we just sitting listening and then you leave type of thing.
No, I completely agree with you. And as we often share this, 14 years ago when the journey started, it was always with the concept of network education and advanced research. Right? We're so blessed. USC in the backyards of one of the most critical infrastructure of the United States of America, San Pedro Bay, both Los Angeles, Long Beach. 40% of the goods that get consumed not only in the lower 48 states, but all 50, passes through the borders of these waters, right? Passes through our university. And we're in a great position to create the thought leadership, the influence, and the next generation readers. And it is through not just the movements of goods, but the people and the mobility and trade and interconnectedness of our world, what makes us thrive as a human species. Gwen, thank you so much for joining us and having this amazing conversation.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And thanks for the years, a decade of friendship and mentorship. I'm so grateful.
Well, the pleasure is mine, and it's likewise. The feeling is mutual. You've been an amazing friend, a colleague, and obviously a professional. Wade, once again, great conversation, and I thank you for your time, being part of this journey with the USC Marshall Kendrick Global Supply Chain Institute and our Masters of Science in Global Supply Chain program. Thanks for all your support.
You're welcome. And thanks so much for everything.
We hope you enjoyed another exciting episode of Supply Chain Demystified. Stay tuned for the next demystifying discussion on the supply chain. Visit uscsupplychain.com to stay up to date on all things supply chain.